Hello everyone, I am back and today we are building a 1930s British semi-detached house. Well, I guess we're making two, not just one because semi-detached house is always two. And I just really love the 1930s style houses. I love any type of British house really, Victorian, Edwardian, 1930s, 1920s, you name it. But I just think these are so, I don't know, they're just so like quintessential to me. It's just what I think of when I think of like a British home. So I just really wanted to give it a go, especially obviously because The Sims is very like American based. And I just thought it'd be nice to build a nice British home just in the world of Newcrest. I just thought it'd fit in nicely. And yeah, this is actually, I'd say, I didn't intend for this to happen, but they ended up really big. I don't know why, but obviously there's all different like kind of sizes of these types of houses. So some can be a bit smaller, some can be a bit wider, maybe a bit longer, but they all have the same sort of layout. It's just some can have maybe slightly bigger bay window, maybe it's a more rectangular bay window, sometimes it's a more diagonal bay window like this one here. And you'll see as well I put these sort of like little bay windows, like mini ones at the top above the archway where the main entrance is, which obviously some have that, some just have a normal window there. I just thought they were quite cute, and yeah, just added a bit of something different to the front of the build, but some have that, some don't. And what I just love, to be honest, about semi-detached houses, terrace houses, any houses like that where you just kind of see a street and from the exterior they're all pretty similar. Obviously some can have slight differences, but essentially they're all, at one time they were all the same house, or the same, when they're built they're all the same layout, same brick, you name it, but then over the years they get changed and they can just be completely different on the inside. And I just really love that, how you can be walking down a street and from the outside it can look like, okay, this is just a run of houses and they're all exactly the same, but actually they're really, really not. And I just find that I really love the idea of that, and I thought that's what I do here. So I knew I wanted, obviously we're making two, and I really wanted them to sort of juxtapose each other, and have, so like one which has probably been lived in for a very, very long time by the same family, so it's very dated. The layout hasn't changed, they've not made any alterations. They've got the original floorboards and the big fireplaces, and just, yes, pretty dated, like I say. So maybe wallpaper that's been there for years, and maybe like it seems quite dark. I always find them a bit darker, sort of older homes, because they've got a bit more paneling and a bit heavy. And then the other one is a family home which has been modernized, not modernized like really super modern, but just brought into this century a bit more, but still keeping some of the traditional elements, because I think that's one of my favourite things with older houses, is making it new, making it, bringing it back to life almost, but keeping some of those traditional elements, because I think they just work so well together. I think they just bounce off each other really well. And so that's what I decided to do. And it also has an extension, has a loft conversion, so it's much bigger. And like I said at the start, for some reason these houses just ended up being huge. Like, I really didn't intend for that to happen, but I just started building on this lot and I wanted to fill the lot, and yeah, they just turned out massive. So I did crop out I cropped out a couple of bathrooms, I think, and the garages and a shed, because when I was like, looking at the video back of the footage, it was just like monstrous, and I just thought, no one is going to want to watch that. It's just going to get quite repetitive, quite boring, so I cropped out some of those things. I hope that's okay. Obviously there are screenshots at the end if you want to look at anything in detail, and it's also on the gallery, so you can take a look on there if there's, like, I don't know, any rooms you want to see that you felt like you didn't get to see. But yeah, like I say, so one's super modern, more modern, sorry, so you can see the one on the left hand side has got that extension, and this one is still very like boxy. The back of it is just like very square, and there's no sort of like stick outs or anything, which is kind of how it would be. Now so like for example, I live in a 1930s house, and this is like the stereotypical typical layout that I see. But as you could, like I said, it's much bigger. So it meant that everything is like a little bit out of proportion. And you'll see what I mean when I start putting the furniture in. So like you can see like, I mean, the kitchen there is so small to the right of the screen right now. It's a very traditional like galley kitchen, very small, which is what I wanted it to be. But it looks super small compared to the dining room and the lounge because they're so ginormous. But that is kind of how they are. And I think the other thing, you'll see this hallway, like the stairs kind of go straight up and they have that slight turn as you get to the top of the stairs. And I feel like, obviously you can't do this in The Sims, but normally like that top where it turns would almost be like in the kitchen ceiling. So like maybe the kitchen door would be like one tile ahead, and then you'd have this kind of like slant in the ceiling in the kitchen. So the kitchen would be slightly longer maybe perhaps, but then it would have this like, yeah, not like flat ceiling. But obviously you can't do that in Sims, so that's how I've done it. And I also put a door in the stairs, I don't know if you noticed, to kind of be like a little understairs cupboard, because I feel like there'd always be storage under the stairs. And yeah, so that's a cute way of like trying to fit that in. But yeah, like I said, this is the house that has been lived in for a long time. I imagine by probably now like an elder couple who maybe has lived here and brought up all their children here, and just not really redecorated for a long time. So it's still sort of how it would have been many years ago. Very heavy furniture, like I said, like very dark woods, and just like a bit clashing. I think that's always, when I think of like a dated home or a home that just hasn't been updated for a long time or still has like original wallpapers or wallpapers that have been put on years ago, like it was always quite clashing. I don't know about you, but I just always think they can clash quite a lot. So if some of the like aesthetics seem a bit questionable, it is kind of like that on purpose. Like, I know that some of the things maybe you'd think, oh, that is just a little bit weird. That is the vibe I was going for. I can't lie to you, because I do just think they just make things clash. I don't know if it was trendy years ago or it's a trend to clash, but yeah, I just find these places just, they clash a lot. And the other thing looking here now that really frustrates me is obviously I've used platforms because I wanted to have the step up into the house, but obviously the garage on ground level. So I use platforms to do that rather than obviously the foundations lifted up and down, because it's just easier with the garage, so it's on the ground floor, or level to the ground, sorry. But what it means with what I really don't like about the platforms is the way it cuts the wallpapers. So especially with wallpapers that have like skirting board or like paneling, it just like cuts them, and I just think it looks really weird. Like, no rooms have no skirting. Like, that would just be so bizarre to have a room with no skirting boards. So when it just cuts it off, I just think it looks really strange. And the same for the paneling. If it cuts half the paneling, so you just have this tiny room of paneling, which basically then just looks like a big, well, like a really oversized skirting board, it just looks really weird. So yeah, I really wish they could change that, because that really annoyed me when I started doing this, because I was like doing it and I was like, oh, I really want to have like the appearance of like, paneling and really big like traditional skirting boards, but I felt like that's a bit lost downstairs. Obviously upstairs is fine because it's just like normal walls, no platforms, but like, yeah, I don't know why. I mean, I get why it does that, but it's just, I don't know, I wish it could like register the fact that the wallpaper should start where the platform starts and not like at the bottom of the wall, if you know what I mean. But yeah. So you've just seen me like whiz through the bathrooms. That's the only bathroom in this house. And to be honest, quite spacious. Like I said, this house is so big, so that's a very spacious bathroom for a house of this style. to have a bath and a shower like that. But I mean, some of them are, like I said, there are some bigger ones, smaller ones, depends where in the country you are, even within a city or town, like you're gonna have different size houses made in the same year. But yeah, so yeah, quite a big bathroom really, but a nice family bathroom. Now this bedroom in my mind is like the guest bedroom, but obviously would have been one of their children's bedrooms like many years ago. And my idea was to make it like, obviously you can see I put a travel cot in there and some toys that maybe when their children, who are obviously adults now, come to stay with their children, so the owner's grandchildren, like they come and stay and there's some of the old toys and they have something to play with while they're staying, and obviously like any babies can stay in the travel cot. I think that's a really sweet idea, and I think that's quite common, to be honest, for rooms to be kind of kept, not obviously like as the children had it before they moved out, but they'd kind of still be the same. They're not really going to be changed too much, because obviously their children will still come back for, I don't know, like Christmas, just to visit, if they haven't seen them for a long time or live far away. So yeah, that's what I did with that room. And then this is the master suite. So this is where I imagine the couple who own the house sleep. Obviously they have the nice bay window as well. Just a lot of storage in there, a lot of alcove storage. You'll see with a lot of the fireplaces I put alcove storage around it, which I love alcove storage, and it's just such a perfect use of space in the real world. And I just like to recreate that in The Sims because I just think it looks really cute. And then this is the tiny box room. Always a tiny box room in these houses, and again I thought this would be like another old children's bedroom, which they've kind of again kept maybe for like a grandchild, a slightly older grandchild that might come and stay with their parents. They might sleep in that room while their parents are in the other room with the baby. And so again, this is more of the old toys, but also in there is a desk and computer, because of course they probably also use that as like a study space now, but keep it still as a bedroom for when people come to stay. So we've whizzed through the interior of that house. I went to the garden now, and like I say, there is a shed there and a garage, but I have cut out doing the insides. I mean, they're pretty like, the standard stuff. There's a little debug car in there, the classic debug car in the garage. No garage is complete without one. And the shed, obviously just some bits and bobs, really, some old chairs, some stuff for the garden, hose, some like tools, garden tools, but yeah, so, and again, really big gardens, really big gardens. I kind of almost didn't know what to put in these gardens, if I'm honest with you, because I wasn't expecting it to be so big. It's my fault. I built on a big lot. I shouldn't have built on this big lot. I just looked for a lot which was wide, because obviously I've got to fit 2 houses wide and 2 garages, and then it just turned out to be quite like deep as well. So it's just, yeah, there we are. But yeah, quite a simple little garden. I figured because they're older, they'll be into their gardening. Not to stereotype, I know anyone can garden, but also just it might be a little bit wild as well, so maybe they let things grow a bit, because maybe they don't, like they're into their gardening but they want lots of plants around. So yes, it's nice and wild, and also a couple of, like, for example, I've still kept that climbing frame because I figured they'd have that again for like when kids come to stay, their grandchildren. Thought it was quite sweet. Yeah, and this washing line, that's another thing I was thinking when I was building this. That's the only washing line we have, and I know that might seem like a weird thing to be annoyed about, but like, I don't know, like I feel like there's so much more variety in washing lines. Like there's washing lines, like, I mean, I see a lot that like are attached to like your home, like the like the back wall of your house, and then it just like stretches along the whole garden, so then you have like the whole length of your garden to hang clothes, which is just fab. Which is what I kind of tried to recreate there by putting 2 together, which I know kind of looks a little bit weird, but like, yeah, I kind of wanted this like long washing line, and then you get the ones that are kind of like upside down umbrellas, if you know what I mean. They're very, I feel like they must be very British. I don't know, you have to let me know. I think they're just they make me think they're very British, but they might not be. But anyway, yeah, there's just not much variety in washing lines, and that would be really cool if we could have some more. I know it's a very unique request, but yeah, I really would like that. And So now we're starting this the other house, which I said is the big family home. And you'll see out the front I put the 2 like debug cars that came with cottage living, because I wanted this house to have cars on the drive and not the other one, because like I said, I wanted the other one to seem more just like traditional, and this one is much more lively, if you know what I mean. So there's like cars out the front, they use that space. They've converted the whole garden into a driveway, because there's probably gonna be loads of cars once their kids get older as well. But yeah, like I say, I used the 2 cars for cottage living because they are like really, really British, right? It's a bit cheesy, but there we are. I was just tired of using the like standard debug ones. If I have an opportunity to use these ones, I'm gonna do it, so I do it. And like I say, I still want to keep some of the traditional elements of like a 1930s style home. So, you know, I kept like the front door, for example. It's like that front door from Going Together is honestly like one of my favorite front doors. It looks to me like a 1930s front door with the sort of like high paneling and then just a small window at the top. Really, really love that. So yeah, like for example, like that, keeping that element and putting those tiles down in the doorway as well, maybe sort of like older tiles that they've sort of like reclaimed. But yeah, and this is the blue room, as I like to call it. I think this is such a lovely colour for a lounge. I think it's stunning, can't lie. My lounge is this colour. And yeah, I just think it works so well. Makes it so cozy. I can see this is like where the parents come in the evening once all the kids have gone to bed, and they just shut themselves off from the noise and just like watch a film, have a drink, and just chill. But yeah, so that's what I was going with that room. And then you'll see here at the back, I'm faffing again with my bifolds. I'm always faffing with my bifolds. I created this massive open plan, like sort of obviously kitchen diner, and then also chill out space where I feel like the children play. There's sort of little play areas where, you know, like a few toys around. So, you know, family can be cooking whilst they're playing, and they can see what they're doing, and maybe this is where the kids come in the evening and they play on, I don't know, like games or watch their TV while the parents are in the front room watching whatever they're watching. I think it's always good to have 2 spaces like that. Not that the Sims probably care. And then obviously keeping with the modern theme up the top where you can see their loft conversion, those big windows, which are really, really fun. I really wanted to use those. I haven't used those yet from the new pack. And also the like triangle ones. How exciting is that we've got those triangle ones? And like put them in the roof, but I didn't have a roof here like that I could do that too. So there we are. Just use those ones for now. But yeah, so here I am making this like proper like massive chill out space, again using these sofas. Love the modular sofas, although I could spend hours like just fiddling with them, like trying to make like interesting shapes, but hey ho. But yeah, I just think this is such a nice space. Like I know the Sims won't appreciate it like we do, but just this big open space where, yeah, like I say, down the steps will be where they're cooking, and then like the kids can be up here, or like anyone can be up here. And it just makes the house, like how different is this house to next door? Like I was saying earlier, like it's so cool. I think it's so cool. I might just sound like a massive house nerd, but I think it's so cool that originally these would have been like exactly the same houses, but you can do this to them. From the front, they still look like the same house, but from the back, they are new. They just have this new lease of life, and I really, really love it. I really, really do. I really, really do. But yeah, I'm just looking at this wallpaper again, and like I said earlier, where's that skirting board gone? It's so sad. Like you can see it on the downstairs where the little steps are, but there's no skirting board up top. Oh well. One day we will get that. Now, this kitchen took me a while to pick out the kitchen because I don't know why I've struggled with the vibe, but you may notice that I don't put a fridge. Yeah. And I only realised once I am playtesting, and I'm like, why are they faffing? There's no fridge. So there is a fridge, don't worry. I have put one in. Obviously not here, I do it off camera once I realise. But yeah, there is a fridge, so do not stress. I also don't put a bin. I mean, I was really like I don't know what I was thinking when I was building this kitchen. To be honest, I was probably quite tired because this took me a long time. Like I said, I went into this like this is going to be a quick build, because like I don't need any like reference images or anything, or I don't need to like look like, oh, what, you know, like how I'm going to make it look, because these houses are like ingrained in my brain. But yeah, then I make it massive, don't I? Of course I do. And make loads of bedrooms, and it just means, yeah, it takes a long time, and then you start to get a bit of, I feel like you can get a bit of fatigue and I start like thinking, ooh, like what would they want in this kitchen? But anyway, I think it's fine. I think in the end it all comes together. I think it's quite nice, very modern, and really like different from how it would have been. So yeah, you can see to the left of my screen, not, well, was to the left of my screen, the bathroom, the upstairs bathroom, which I did off camera for this main family bathroom on this floor. And there is also like a little bathroom on the ground floor that comes off the kitchen with like a utility space with a washer and dryer. Again, I don't film it because the video just started to really drag, and yeah, I just didn't want it to be too long, to be honest. And I already knew as well when I finished this build that I wanted to try and get this up as quickly as I could, because I know it's been a little while since I last uploaded. I mean, not too long, but longer than perhaps I'd have liked, because I have had a poorly baby this week, so it's been a little bit difficult. I haven't had as much time to do this, because I've been looking after them, which is obviously the most important thing. So yes, that's why it's been a little bit quieter for the past few days, but here we are. We're here and we're doing it. We're loving it. And this bedroom, when I was doing it, in my mind is like, you know, when you're that age where your bedroom is like still a bit kiddie, from when you were younger, and your parents obviously like maybe they don't have the money to redo it, or they have the time to redecorate it, so you're kind of stuck with a few, like some toys and things, and which you wouldn't really play with anymore, but they're still just in your room, and like maybe you would like it to be repainted, but yeah, like I say, I don't know at the time or the money or whatever. So yeah, that's what I felt like that room was. Like, I don't know, like some of the things I put in, like the fact they've got like, you know, their own laptop, but then they also have like this play tent. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I just felt like the kid had grown up basically too fast for the room. Like all of a sudden they're like, no, I want my laptop, and like I'm not playing with that tent or that like castle toy, the castle doll's house. But I don't know. That's just like when I was doing it, I was like, I feel like this child needs a new refresh of bedroom, but they don't have that yet, so they're just gonna have to wait. But yeah, and then this, I envisaged maybe like a teen bedroom, which obviously they have like spruced up more. Like obviously this is definitely not a children's bedroom anymore, so this one has been a bit spruced up, although to be honest, like the wallpaper is very plain, very traditional. Like I said, I did want to keep some of the traditional elements. You'll see I keep fireplaces in the rooms, smaller ones though, so they're not as intrusive, but I do keep fireplaces in all the rooms that would have fireplaces. So yeah, it wouldn't be hard to redecorate when the walls are quite plain. And then this little box room I thought would be for a little baby that they've just had, or well, I guess it would be for an infant in this case, but yeah, they always get the box room, right? The third child gets the smallest room. So it's a little bit of a squeeze, but to be honest, in my mind, quite realistic, because it is just the way it goes. They just get the little box room at the front, and then right at the top, we have this master suite of dreams, with a massive walk-in bathroom, a massive walk-in wardrobe. Like honestly, this is huge. I could have made this 2 bedrooms, to be honest. Like we could have had like maybe like another child's bedroom and a guest bedroom, and then the bay window fronted room where the teens room was the main, like the master suite. But I thought, you know what, they've got their 3 kids running around, they need some space upstairs, and this is quite traditional when you do a loft conversion, or the ones I've seen, like people go for, they make it into a master suite because you can get that extra bathroom up there. So it just makes sense to have this big master suite of dreams. But I mean, this one is like luxurious. This house is expensive. And obviously because there's 2 houses on one lot, because as we've talked about before, we can't make like 2 houses attached to each other, so we have to just like do it on one lot. This is like super expensive, because obviously you're buying 2 houses that are like fully full of clutter, because you know what I'm like, and fully just full of items. And this one especially is obviously quite expensive because, well, you can see it's just huge. So yeah, I imagine that, I mean, if you wanted to play with this build, you can do whatever you want with it, to be honest. You could like completely obviously change the interior to how you want. You could knock one down, or just like completely empty one out if you kind of wanted the illusion of you live in one but you don't want to pay for the other one, because at the moment you're paying for 2 houses, which is really excessive, right? But yeah, maybe have it empty so you can just have the one house, or however you want to do it, or make it, or knock it through, have one massive mansion. That'd be pretty cool too. But yeah, just finishing off here in the big master suite of dreams, and I just love the idea of having a bath like that by a window, because it's going to be pretty, like, people shouldn't really see you. They might. I mean, they probably could, but let's just pretend they can't. And can you imagine just like lying in that bath looking out the window? It'd be pretty sweet, really. And yeah, so back out into the garden now, finishing off this garden. Again, it's pretty like chill. I don't put much out here. I make a nice seating area, a bit more modern obviously, and lots of lighting, and a few little things to put for the children. I did want to put a tree house actually, because I know the new pack comes with a tree house, but oh my goodness, it's huge. Like, and I thought this was a big garden. Like, it is huge. I tried putting it out then, and was like, whoa. So yeah, I quickly just swapped that out for a normal tree. Did contemplate making my own tree house, because that is always fun to do. I've done it a few times, but then I thought, you know what, let's just keep it nice and simple, because that's just, yeah, it would be nice and simple. Let's keep it nice and simple. Just a nice space for everyone to enjoy. But yeah, so I'm just going to finish up in the garden here, and then I do a little bit of faffing as per usual. Put a bit of lights out, and then that'll be us done for today. I hope you enjoyed. I know it was a long one, apologies, but I will leave you with some screenshots, and I will see you in the next one.